At 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, the internet is ripping apart newly unsealed documents linking former presidents to Jeffrey Epstein. A few weeks later, an airstrike hits Tehran. The Strait of Hormuz closes, and the documents are completely forgotten. When the DOJ missed the deadline set by the Epstein Transparency Act, the backlash from the public and the House Oversight Committee was immediate. The big drop came in January 2026, releasing 3.5 million pages, full of flight logs, emails, and transcripts that threatened to expose the ruling class. Critics accused the DOJ of over-redacting powerful figures, while exposing personal information of the victims, igniting outrage all across the world. But less than a month later, the world stopped looking. Operation Epic Fury began on February 28th. A U.S. airstrike on Tehran ended with the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, several high-ranking generals, and, unfortunately, innocent civilians, including children. Then the attention went from the Epstein fallout to the escalating war. When the DOJ quietly dropped the fixed redacted files on March 5th, the world was too busy watching the closure of the Strait of Hormuz to notice. The military diversion coincided with a myriad of political chaos happening on American soil. Allegations of Donald Trump allegedly sexually assaulting a teenage girl with Epstein in the 80s. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi being accused of perjury, leading to her firing in April. Melania Trump's strange media conference, and the bizarre, erratic social media posts from Donald Trump. So, what do you do when a scandal is ready to rock the very foundations of your country? You go to war. Now we're entering the realm of geopolitical theory. There's a political move that's been used for centuries in times of scandal, and it has a name: wag the dog. The phrase, by definition, is a strategy where a political leader engages in diversionary tactics, often involving military action or another high-stakes maneuver to distract the public from a pending or existing scandal, crisis, or failure. To connect the dots, you have to look at who was facing exposure from the release of these pages. For decades, he was building his circle of the world's 1%. His financial bedrock began with Leslie Wexner in the 80s. Wexner essentially handed Epstein the keys to his empire with full authority to do whatever he pleased. Wexner was actually how Epstein got the infamous Manhattan townhouse and the Boeing 727, later named the Lolita Express. Leon Black, the founder of Apollo Global Management, paid Epstein a staggering $158 million. Black has sworn these payments were strictly for tax, estate, and philanthropic advisory services. But he's also mentioned by first and last name in a diary written by a 16-year-old victim. So take from that what you will. Donald Trump ran in the same exclusive high society circles in New York and Palm Beach as Jeffrey Epstein. He even praised his name in New York Magazine. Epstein aligned himself with former President Bill Clinton, who, after his term had ended, traveled frequently on Epstein's private Boeing 727 for philanthropic trips. There are pictures of Clinton in the Epstein files with women, although we don't know where the photos were taken. Beyond U.S. politics, Epstein had a 15-year relationship with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Epstein was paid at least $5 million as a financial advisor to Barak after he left his post as defense minister. And in 2015, a $1 million contribution was made to Barak's limited partnership, Sum EB, to invest in an Israeli emergency services technology startup. There's also theories Epstein was trained as a spy under Barak following a 2020 FBI memo, but we don't have definitive proof that happened. And Epstein didn't stop there. He also made connections to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew. Even when the public was criticizing their friendship, Andrew emails Epstein saying, "We're in this together, and we'll have to rise above it." An email thread was found between the two after Epstein's release from prison, offering to introduce Andrew, using his alias, the Duke, to a 26-year-old Russian woman, to which Andrew replies, "That was quick. How are you? Good to be free?" Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's survivors, alleged that she was forced by Epstein and Maxwell to have sex with Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions when she was 17 years old, in both London and at Maxwell's home and Epstein's New York townhouse. In 2022, Andrew pays a multi-million-dollar out-of-court settlement to Virginia Giuffre, and 3 years later, he is stripped of all his royal titles and ranking. These were just a few of Epstein's connections. If I were to continue listing names, we'd be here for hours, just listing off more millionaires, billionaires, politicians, CEOs, and high-ranking officials. So, where does that leave us today? Staring at 3.5 million pages of unsealed documents, a rapidly escalating global conflict, and a justice system that seems far more interested in blacking out names than clearing the air. The timing of Operation Epic Fury isn't entirely clear. While the coincidence of the launch certainly created suspicion, there is no concrete evidence to prove the conflict was a deliberate diversion. Ultimately, the true motive is still up in the air. But maybe that's the real takeaway here. The true legacy of Jeffrey Epstein isn't just the horrific crimes he committed or the black book he kept. It's a system designed to protect its own at all costs. And the DOJ is still holding 2.5 million pages.